That's why we in the Labour Party had to strive as hard as ever we could to rub the right's nose in diversity. You see? Even though we in Labour have been accused of altering the nation's demographic to such an extent that the white British people should be an ethnic minority in their own country within a few decades. Oh yes, mate, and denigrating British culture and overpopulating this island. You know, we got finite resources, but it's incredibly racist to point it out. But we had to rub the right's nose in diversity and present them with a fait accompli so they'll get off our backs at long, long last by it. Well, I mean, it's the only pragmatic method, isn't it? And as everybody knows, we in the trendy, politically correct left are pragmatic. Yes, mate, we're not at all vengeful, as our previous 10 years of social policy under New Labour has only proved in every single arena. What do you think about that, eh? People said that we weren't able to achieve anything in Labour, but you see, the public can't complain about Labour now.
No, that's not what you're supposed to say. It's not in the script at all. You're supposed to say, "You have now passed level 1, and you have now entered the dark and danky chamber." Your CD-ROM game doesn't contain any of this.
Yes, I know. But I thought I'd improvise a little bit so the children of this nation can be educated as well as entertained when they play my top-quality CD-ROM, mate.
Yes, well, I'm not having it. People in Labour have distorted the educational development of Britain's children enough in recent years without you adding to the damage unofficially.
Yes, well, it's not damage at all, mate. Because in that dark and danky cavern, they come across the misunderstood social paedophile. And I'm hoping to get Gary Glitter to do the voiceover. And if he's not available, Johnathan King. You see? I mean, it's deeply misunderstood, mate. That's why we've got so many quote-unquote paedophiles in Labour. I mean, it's just too much fun, isn't it? To ever be thought of as a crime. Well, particularly by the perpetrators, anyway. Yeah, you just said... And by the final level, we discover that all of the oppressive, totalitarian, murderous communist regimes right across the world, not one of them represented true communism, as any proper, decent, in-the-know left-winger can tell ya.
Oh, yeah. So Stalin's regime didn't properly represent communism then?
No, nor did Pol Pot's regime, or, well, to an extent, Castro's even, or Ceausescu's, or Honecker's, or anybody else you can think of.
All right, well, which regime did represent bloody communism then?
You're not going to catch me out by leading me up a blind alley again. I mean, people like you, well, you try to catch people out. All I know is that the true, proper communist regime has yet to be initiated, and so therefore we've got to hold out hope.
What has the Chief Whip been telling you? Never, never, ever talk up communism in front of the public.
You mean to say we're recording again? I thought this was just the run-through, the rehearsal. How dare you put me out now?
Well, I thought I'd show the people out there just how you are in real life.
No! This is me at my most unguarded. This isn't how I really am at all. No, how I really am is how I present myself when I'm giving speeches and things. You see, that's the real... Yeah. You see, why would I go to all that trouble to create my own substance if it wasn't going to be a true representation of how I really am? You see, but you catch me. Everybody knows that in Labour, you don't need any substance because the quote-unquote substance is all in the image. You see, it's much easier to handle and to manage then, isn't it, mate? Vote Labour! Right, I'm not going to bother with your bloody CD at all, mate. You can market it without my influence and see how bloody popular it is.
Yeah, well, it won't sell.
It won't sell because the star of the show, the very person the people want to hear the most, will be absent.
No, it'll just be an empty game that people will be playing if you're not there to give your narration. Although I can't understand why anybody outside the remit of the Students' Union and all those trade unions you've foisted free copies on would even bother with it in the first place.
Well, I mean, it's a Philistine who'd say that kind of thing, mate. And you said it. Ergo, you're a Philistine. You see, you can't escape top-quality logic, can you? The kind of logic which runs right through this game and ought to make it a true classic. Vote Labour! Because although you wankers are going to vote me out of office at the next general election, you better purchase a copy sharpish before it gets out of date. Otherwise it'll be £50,000 of your Arts Council's grant wasted, rather than invested. Because you don't want to be seen as out of date, do ya? Ah, you poor pathetic people, you never can win. Well, we're coming up very close to the festive season now, public. And as we all know, it's this time of year a very special annual tradition is getting underway in the West Bay.
Yes. Left-wing arseholes trying to ban Christmas right across the land.
It's ever so tiresome, isn't it, mate? To read stories in the enemy press, for example the Daily Mail, about how some jumped-up officious arsehole has decided to stop school children from celebrating Christmas. Or council employees, for example. I mean, it's just so babyish to complain about it, isn't it, mate? You just think of all of those minority groups that we've persuaded ourselves get ever so offended whenever the birth of Lord Jesus comes. Lord Jesus. Delusions of grandeur from somebody who was supposed to be the people's champion. Well, he pulls the rug out from under his own feet at the start, doesn't he, mate?
Dickhead.
But we've got something to counter that this year, mate. To restore people's faith in Christmas, we're going to lead by example. Which is why Harriet Harman has herself decided that MPs should take an early Christmas break as from this year. You see, if people in Labour didn't want people to think that Christmas was meaningful again, we wouldn't be giving ourselves another bumper holiday so soon after the last one.
You've got no clue, have you, Jonathan?
What have we done now to upset you? You didn't like it when we were talking down Christmas, and now that we're doing something to underline the fact that Christmas is a nice long holiday period for those of us who are lucky enough to be able to award it to ourselves. You're still moaning! Right, that's it. We're in Labour. We're not going to do a damn thing to help you anymore, because we're damned if we do and we're damned if you don't, so damn the bloody public. There. I've laid it on the line to you. Now I hope you're feeling damn ashamed of yourselves for what you've driven me to say.
Dickhead.